Mayoral Memo with Matthew Dickinson from Dubbo Regional Council.
Mayor of Dubbo Regional Council, Matthew Dickinson, good morning.
You may not say that for much longer, Rod. It may well be the last time, or certainly the last time for this council term, a shortened council term, Rod, 70% or less than 70% of a normal council term. By the time election day rolls around, we will have been councillors for 997 days, so a little bit shorter than normal.
And are you standing again?
I have put my hat in the ring. I have said I would stand and nominated, so that's all part of the official process. And pre-polling is going at the moment as we speak. So yes, standing and hopefully re-elected, as mayor once the council election's out of the way. Hopefully I'll be re-elected there, and then hopefully with a new group of councillors, they'll see value in continuing on with me as mayor.
And is there an excess of candidates, or is everyone guaranteed a job?
No, I know there are some councils around the state that are very clever in the way they engineer it and have just the right number of nominations, which saves a lot of expense for an election. But no, we've got 48 candidates. And I say 48 candidates, Rod, but I would say that there's probably more like 20 candidates. And the reason I say that is you've got groups on council, and typically a group has the top couple, maybe even the top three, who are serious candidates, hopeful of being elected. But the reality is the way the system works, with votes coming down at a reduced value, then the people that are standing at, say, 4, 5 and 6 are incredibly unlikely to be elected. And even the people at most of those tickets on number 3 are unlikely to be elected. So when you break that down, many of those are there because you've got to have 6 in a group to get a box above the line in Dubbo. So essentially, I think most of those people are standing to help out the person at the top of that group.
Politics, it's a fun game even at the local level.
Indeed. And I am a fan. I'm a bit biased here. I've got to be careful. This is not an official mayoral view. This is a Matthew Dickinson view. I am a fan of people standing as individuals and let people vote for those individuals. So we've got 11 individuals standing, including myself, as individuals, which I think is a good, healthy number. Just also happens to be the right number of councillors if people all voted for those individuals. But in the groups, we've got 6 groups there as well.
Yeah, I'm all for independence. Now, let's move to what we've got to talk about, and that's what you've been up to. And at the moment, you're in Canberra.
In Canberra, and I'm actually presenting today at a Better Futures Forum. And this is a forum that's trying to get industry, community, government leaders together to make sure that we get some good outcomes from some of the climate policies and the things that are happening with climate change, but some climate action to make sure that they're going in the right direction. And obviously, Dubbo, being the first renewable energy zone, or in the first renewable energy zone in the state, is an important part of that. So I'll certainly be talking about some of the challenges that we've seen and some of the ways that maybe they could be addressed. And one thing that I talk about constantly, Rod, I'm actually almost at the stage where I'm sick of hearing myself talk about it, but I'll be very happy when they change it so that I can stop talking about it. And that's in relation to compulsory planning agreements, which I would like to see. At the moment, they're all voluntary planning agreements. So I want to see the V change to a C. And this whole negotiation we have to have with every individual proponent is great eventually because we get money out of them. But it's a long, hard road to get money, an appropriate amount of money out of each proponent, because it's voluntary. And as nice as you are, I think if I said, would you voluntarily like to give money to Dubbo Regional Council, you might say, no thanks. And that's what proponents say, typically, until we have extended negotiations and finally they agree to give us some money in most circumstances. So it's a challenge. So there'll be some discussion around that from my end at the forum today, and I'm sure lots of other discussions as well.
Well, hopefully you get some outcomes there. And also road safety, a bit of a chat on that.
There was a good promotion, which it's sad that we've got to have promotion on this, but we do need to, a good promotion from the Australian Road Safety Foundation that I was involved with last week. And they've got a promotion that focuses on don't be that driver. And I didn't quite understand what they were talking about initially, and as they went through the promotion, it made perfect sense. You'll be driving along, you'll see someone do something silly, they'll overtake on double yellow lines, or they're driving without a seatbelt, and in the car, you'll be sitting there with friends or family, you say, oh, look at that person over there, look at that idiot doing that. And the whole promotion is make sure you're not the one that's being that driver. So if we all aren't that driver, then the roads will be safer for everyone. Unfortunately, we lost 811 lives on rural roads last year. So that's way too many. I'd say that's 811 too many. So anything we can do to reduce that road toll, let's be a part of it.
Definitely don't be that driver. And swim season is upon us.
You'll be disappointed to know, Rod, that I didn't pull out the budgie smugglers. I was looking around for the official mayoral budgie smugglers, one with the Dubbo Regional Council logo or the mayoral crest. I couldn't find them, so I had to go and open the swimming season in my suit, and I let other people lined up ready to go in for the first morning. I let them be in their budgie smugglers. But there were people lined up, which was great to see. Swimming season is upon us. Dubbo and Wellington both had people lined up ready to go in 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. So if you're in Dubbo now through the entire season, through the summer season, then you know the pool will be open, ready to go, and hopefully an exciting season. A couple of little hiccups in our contractor last season. We've had some extended discussions and negotiations with them, and we think this season will be much better and certainly much better prepared and much better planned. So looking forward to a great season for the swimming season.
Rightio. Definitely looking forward to that myself. Now, you had an extraordinary council meeting, was it?
I do love the fact that we call them extraordinary, and it's one of those things that a normal meeting is called an ordinary meeting, which I don't think is particularly ordinary, and then an extraordinary meeting is often called an extraordinary meeting. So we've got to do something about that, Rob. We've got to change those names around. But we had a couple of things to do. One was to refer our financial statements to the auditor. That needed to be done by a certain deadline, so we've done that. The other thing we wanted to do was to formally put an application in, or resolve to put an application in, for the Central West Orana Renewable Energy Zone Legacy Infrastructure Fund. And this is a very strange fund, a very strange grant, and I wish all grants were like this. This is to do with the res that's around Dubbo. They made an announcement there'll be $128 million for the res, and the first tranche of that money was $70 million. Of that 70, $11.25 million of that was tagged for Dubbo. Now, normally when you're putting in a grant application, Rod, you're competing against other councils, other organisations in that competitive grant process. This one, the 11.25, is tagged for Dubbo. It's ours. It's ready for us to use, but we've got to put an application in for a project, and the state government then has to approve that project before we get the money. So it is a strange one. Again, I wish every application was like that, where we had the money guaranteed. We've put the application in for the Renewable Energy Awareness and Career Training Centre, or we call it the REACT Centre. And this is a centre that will help train people for the jobs that will be available for the renewable energy projects, and also be a visitor experience centre. And we hope that this will drive 100,000 people a year through Wellington for the visitor experience, which will fundamentally change the economy of Wellington. So hopefully they'll approve that, and then we can get started going down this path, because this is something that I see as a huge benefit. And this is all proposed down around Wellington, because that's obviously where the activity, the pulse of activity is in relation to the renewables.
Wonderful. Well, I'll let you get off and do a bit of a practice on your speech that you're going to deliver later today at the Better Futures Forum. Have a good day.
Well, just before you go, Rod, I just want to formally thank yourself and 2WEB. Section 226 of the Local Government Act says that I am the spokesperson for council, and I take that role seriously, but I need to be able to have avenues to be the spokesperson with and be able to communicate with. And so you and 2WB have been very generous over my 997 days as a councillor in this council term to allow me to come onto your radio station, speak to your listeners on a fortnightly basis. And I've always been quite amazed at how many people mentioned to me that they heard me on 2WEB. So there's no doubt about it. Your listeners go far and wide, and they're often in Dubbo. So thank you to you and 2WEB for your time.
Anytime, and I hope we can talk in the future. We like to promote our capital city, Dubbo.
Thank you, Rod.
Mayoral Memo with Matthew Dickinson from Dubbo Regional Council.